way to talk about this because it's potentially confusing because we're reusing the same name, but so we take that and then where am I going? I want to go here. Okay, and then we just like map this stuff and figure out a new entry, right? So you've got a user, you've got timestamp. You've got an event type, which is not here yet. You've got an event activity, which is not here yet. But then we've got details, which is the same as kind of like the note. So we have to, but then these also map to what we're talking about for, let's say, like, don't call it disposition, but so this is activity type. Same as event type. And then this is really kind of a description, right? Oh, wrong one, sorry. We may not need for our activity type disposition things. Let me grab one other thing that Rick sent me. Where is it? This one. Oops. Oh.
You're missing the last one.
Yeah, it's not going to let me copy just one column. Okay, anyway. So these are the types. I'll just leave them in here, but
I understand that.
So this is an investigator, 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 data analyst, MR analyst, coding analyst, investigator, other investigator. Okay, so this is what he was saying. He went through with Yaya and said, okay, these are the sort of like options that they kind of want from the plan of action. Are you familiar with the plan of action from 1.0?
No, but
okay,
I will.
I'll walk you through that real quick. So in Teams, HCD, lead here, there's two things. One, I've put activities folder here. This is a document, open in browser. This is the list of 1.0 plan of action classes.
Okay.
So they have different classes of plan of action objects. So this documents what the data elements in each of these are. So I took this and then went to this one, POAs to activities. So if you open this one, I went through and just captured all of the fields that are in all of those. And then identified whether it was required in 1.0 or not. So this is just my analysis of all of these.
Excellent.
You can see there's 200 some. And then I did, I don't have that, I'm still using disposition here. If we can just like, where we see disposition for now, just read activity. It may end up going back to disposition because if the picks are like, activities is weird, just tell us, just have it be as dispositions. We may toggle back to that.
Yeah, they might not even want to change that to think differently.
Yeah. That's my point. It's like you got to be kind of careful with people saying like what they think, and always like go, okay, but we need to work to make it map to how the users think.
Exactly.
And if the same word doesn't map to the new thing, then yeah, let's change the word. But if it's kind of doing the same thing, why change it on them if that's how they understand it? And so I'm not 100% convinced that activities is the way to go, but for now it's okay. And then I did, kind of dispositioned each of these fields, whether I thought that they should be in or not, and if I had questions. Some of it is, do they need to capture actual times that they started? But you could see like there's no status, because what the plan of actions were in 1.0 or are in 1.0, it's a kind of, as the name suggests, a planned event. So you put it on, like it's like a calendar event that you put ahead of time. And you log that in the system, and they had a calendar that you could see like, oh, what are all my upcoming things that I have to do? Nobody used it, and they were afraid to use it because they were afraid of getting dinged, because if things didn't happen on the date that they put in that they were planning to do it, then it looks bad, like they're doing things late. So what we want to do is sort of like take out the planning part and just use this in the reporting after the fact. So for these things, they want to be able to report like they did an interview. So this is going to be an activity or disposition. But what of this information do we need? We need, this is the stuff, so that field label and next gen. So these blue things are things that are not part of, they're like unique to this activity type. Data fields that are unique to this activity type. So for interview, obviously, interviewee information. And then for site verification, it's your name and address for the provider. That makes sense. But then there are these things that are kind of common across all of this, which is the actual date that something happened, summary or notes, and then the ability to have attachments. So all of these plan of action things have these three elements. An actual date, whether they call it actual date or not, but it's actual date of the event, summary, and attachments. And then some of these have additional fields. So then what this lets us do, like we can map, when we migrate the 1.0 records, we can say, okay, this thing in 1.0 maps to this. This doesn't have a place in next gen. And we'll have to get answers on whether these things need to be fields in next gen or not, these yellow ones. So that's going to help us on the sort of migration, but also like this helps us now that you're thinking about these activities, dispositions, etc. So this is a resource for you.
Very, very good.
So you can reference this too if you have, if you're like, okay, what's that look like in 1.0? It's in this document here, list of available POAs. Okay, so then we've got, this is an exploration, okay? Like this, getting this moved into here. So what I'm thinking is like, we need to visually distinguish at least these three things. And we're there's a couple of things I will say off the bat from what you're exploring here that I like, and some that are just this like one thing is not going to work is multiple activities in one post.
Yeah, that could be very confusing. Actually, Fadam called Omar, and then at the end he said, "I think it's one disposition per note." So,
yeah.
So that helps a lot.
Yeah. So then the other thing is that we're going to have. So in this, and I'm sorry if I'm like being erratic with it. I'm just trying to.
No, you're fine.
It. But we'll in the exploration, we'll have this will be activity log, obviously. So we'll swap this out. What I do like here, this kind of struck me as like you want to be able to like rescan it, right? Like, what if all of these were centered?
Oh yeah.
Right, so you could just scan like every entry
at once.
Has one thing, because you're going to have, even if something's just an entry, it's going to be like there's going to be some kind of activity type for it, right? Just like note or something. Like the activity type could just be note.
Okay.
Or maybe it's none. I don't know what it is, but there's going to be sort of like a header thing to it. Maybe an actual date or not. And then you're going to have the description. And so I think we have a pattern for expanding areas, which is the chevron rather than the triangle.
Okay.
So I think we should stick to that.
Yes, totally.
Okay, I'm just gonna put this like here. I'm wondering if it could be something like this. Like, how do we make this a bit more scannable?
Okay.
Instead of expand, maybe it's just, okay, lock that down. Something's going on with the symbols here. That's tripling. Okay, I'm just gonna lock that. All right. Oh, what is not locked down?
Did I blow the oh wow.
Okay, but you can see kind of the direction here, right? Like you'll have, I'm just gonna move these out of the way a second. Oops. Like this kind of thing going on, right? So you could have your expand collapse all somewhere. Or you could go one by one, you could see the disposition. And then we have the other thing, which is like the system entered. So we need some kind of like entry object that's a like system activity. Low 5 wireframing here, but system activity and the activity log. Show like that, this stuff here.
Yeah.
So like working up all these examples of, okay, what's it look like when this thing is coming in from another record? What's it look like when it's not coming in from another record. And then the filters is another thing to be able to filter by the different, what record did it come from? We can filter out to only see things from this record. Yaya had a comment. I'm just going to paste it in here. I don't know if he's right on this, but he said, okay, we can do buttons for workflows. Okay, let me get to the right thing. So he was suggesting some way to, in terms of like filtering, if we have a quick filter for showing like everything or system events or narrative, documents, tasks, key fields. So I don't know if that's like, do we just have different tabs up here? Do we use those like primary group selectors up here? So, I don't kind of like that idea of the primary group selectors for a number of reasons. I think those are typically used when you need to show a number of things, and I don't think we want to do that here. So I'm kind of leaning toward maybe we use tabs.
I like tabs. We were exploring initially with some tags, some labels. It got very crowded. I didn't like that.
Yeah. So so I think it's either tabs for these sort of quick select. If I want to see everything, or if I just want to see the narrative, I think this would be the default, right? Like the narrative would be the default.
Yeah.
And then documents would be like a different. That would be
one tab. Yeah.
I don't know if that's like, we have a documents drawer. I don't know why we would do that. It would just be like filter, show all posts with documents. We wouldn't show like a table with documents. Tasks, key fields, subjects, vetting, program type. Okay, I don't understand that, so you can ignore this. Workflow events. So it'd be workflow events, I think. It'd be workflow activity events. Okay. This one, I'm going to take it out of there.
And documents.
Yeah, documents. Okay. So we can kind of explore some of that. That was some of the input there. And then the rest of it is just in this activities document, kind of read through that. And I've updated some of these models. This is still a little bit different than the latest one, but if you can sort of incorporate that and then keep going.
Perfect.
It was a lightning